Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the General Licensing Subcommittee. Could I ask for nominations of chair, please?
Could I nominate Councillor Hesselgrave?
And can I second that?
Thank you. Councillor Hesselgrave, nomination of chair. I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just to introduce myself, I'm Councillor Paul Hesselgrave. I'll be chairing this committee this morning, and I'd like my two fellow councillors to introduce themselves.
Councillor Adrian Pegg.
And Councillor Alison Holmes.
So we're here this morning to consider an application for a premises licence at Fresh O'Shea Supermarket, 166A, Normanton Road,
Sorry,
Derby.
Chair. Sorry. Should we introduce everybody else so that we all know who they are?
Oh, sorry. Can I ask the officers to introduce themselves, please?
Lionel Dessa, Legal Advisor.
Jackie Waring, Appeals Officer.
Anne Walker, representing the licensing team.
PC Gemma Williamson, Licensing Enforcement Officer for Derbyshire Constabulary.
Sergeant Ben Freyson, Neighbourhood Sergeant covering Normanton and Rose Hill.
Would you like to introduce yourselves as well, please? You use the, in front of you, you'll see the thing with the mic. If you lift the cover, lift the cover, yeah, you know how to use it. And there's a button, and you press the button, and a red light comes on, and you're the one who's speaking at that time. Just remember to switch it off when you've stopped speaking.
My name is Safina Akhtar, and I'm the agent and also connected to the licence landlord. Oh, is it?
No, switch off. Can I just ask everyone to make sure their mic is so that we can hear them? Otherwise, we can't follow what they're saying.
My name is Berham. I'm a license holder from 170 Normanton Road. We're moving to 166A Normanton Road.
Just in terms of procedure, I'd like you to nominate between you three who is going to speak, and you will then be the only person who speaks, but clearly the others can talk to you about things that they may want to put forward.
It will be myself who will speak on behalf of Berham Aziz.
Can you bring that mic nearer to you?
It will be myself who will speak on behalf of Berham Aziz. Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, just for the notes, I didn't capture the gentleman's name who's sat just behind.
Abdul Rasul, I am owner of the company.
Right. Now, my next question is addressed to all the people who want to make representation here, and it's basically, do you intend to call witnesses or rely on additional documents or information at the hearing that hasn't been presented already?
I've booked today Sergeant Ben Freyson. It should have been in Inspector Chambers originally, but he's had to cancel at the last minute, but it's the same evidence. So he's just here purely if there's any questions from you, Chair, or from any of the councillors or the applicant.
Thanks for that clarification. Has anyone any additional documents that they wish to present now that we haven't had in the bundle? Thank you. Right, I'd now ask the licensing officer to present your report, please.
Sorry, Chair. We just need to work through agenda first and just run through apologies, declarations of interest.
Oh, yes. Are there any declarations of interest from councillors? There are none. Now your moment has come.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. The licensing team received an application for a premises licence for Fresh O'Shea, 166A Normanton Road, Derby, DE23 6UX
on the 2nd of August 2021 from Mr Bahram Aziz. A copy of the application can be found at Appendix 1 of the report. Officers have delegated powers to deal with applications for new premises licences where there are no relevant representations received. However, this is not the case with this particular application, hence attendance at committee today. During the consultation period, the licensing team received a relevant representation from Derbyshire Constabulary, acting as a responsible authority, and one from an other person. Copies of these representations can be found at Appendix 2 in the committee report. Extra information has been received from Derbyshire Constabulary since writing the report, and you should have received a copy of the evidential bundle. The application is for the supply of alcohol for consumption off the premises for Monday to Sunday, 0600 hours to midnight. The opening hours will reflect, the opening hours of the store will reflect those same opening days and times. Mr Bahram Aziz is the proposed licence holder and also the designated premises supervisor. A location plan for the premises can be found at Appendix 3 in the report. The committee is obliged to determine the application with a view to promoting the 4 licensing objectives, and is also obliged when making its decision to have regard to the Licensing Act 2003, the national guidance issued under that Act, the Council's own licensing policy, and the Human Rights Act 1998. Today, the options open to committee are to grant the application as the application received, to modify the conditions of the licence, or to reject the whole or part of the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Have either of my 2 fellow councillors any questions for the licensing officer?
As the applicant owns the premises next door, are there any known issues with the licence, the alcohol licence of the existing premises?
For the premises next door, none to my knowledge, no.
Thank you.
Just to confirm that, basically Europa Delicatessi will be closing down, so it will not be remaining open once Fresh Oshi supermarket opens.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, may
It's okay.
I not just try to give you more
No, it's okay.
information?
There are no more questions then, so we now move to, would you like to ask any questions at this stage of the licensing officer? No. We now move to the Derbyshire Constabulary to present their.
Thank you, Chair. The premises licence application for Fresh Oshi Supermarket, 166 Normanton Road, was received by Derbyshire Constabulary on Monday, the 2nd of August 2021. The applicant, Mr Bahram Aziz, he was appointed as a designated premises supervisor. The premises location is on Normanton Road, Derby, which forms part of the South Division policing area. The circumstances leading up to our objection are as follows. Upon receiving the application, I had concerns about the area in which it was located due to my policing knowledge of Derby. I was aware that this area is heavily frequented by street drinkers who regularly cause nuisance and antisocial behaviour and making the lives of the residents, visitors and business owners very difficult. I contacted Mr Aziz on the telephone and sent an email asking him to make contact with me further to discuss this application. I then had email correspondence with Mr Aziz and advised him that the location of the new licence was situated in an area of Derby which had a high volume of antisocial behaviour and street drinking, and therefore, in order to promote the licence and objectives, I sent him some proposed conditions to be added to the operating schedule. A response was received from Mr Aziz, and he acknowledged that the issue of street drinking in the surrounding area was valid. However, he wanted to discuss 3 of the conditions from the proposed list that I had sent. These 3 conditions were no super strength beer, lager or cider of 6.5 ABV, alcohol by volume or above should be sold at the premises. Any lager or cider will not be sold in single cans or bottles, and any alcohol sold at the premises must have a price sticker or a marker identifying the premises it had been sold from. On Tuesday the 3rd of August, I had a telephone conversation with the applicant regarding the conditions and the fact that he felt they were unfair. He did suggest an alternative condition that all alcohol or cider above 6.5 ABV should be kept behind the counter at the premises instead of the 3 conditions I'd suggested. I then informed Mr Aziz that after consideration, the proposed alternative conditions did not go far enough to satisfy the police that the licensing objectives would be promoted, and therefore, if we could not agree, we would have no choice but to submit an objection to the granting of the premises licence. I have attached a copy of my correspondence to the evidential bundle, which is available for you to look at. Street drinking is essentially a group of individuals, many with alcohol dependency, gathering in an area for a common purpose, which is consuming alcohol to get intoxicated. Once intoxicated, street drinkers then go on to commit crime and disorder, antisocial behaviour and intimidating behaviour towards residents, workers and visitors in the area. Street drinking and associated antisocial behaviour can impact on a person's perception of a physical environment and, more importantly, their quality of life and safety. Groups of drinkers can sometimes stop people using public areas. Throughout this statement, I refer to the term street drinking, but that's just to give you an overview of what street drinking is when we're referring to it. Derbyshire Constabulary currently records all incidents and calls for service on our control work system. I've searched for incidents recorded within 150 metre square radius of the new licence application from the 30th of April 2021. I've also attached these to the bundle of evidence that I've provided to the licensing authority. In preparing this summary, I've looked at incidents involving street drinking and antisocial behaviour in an effort to quantify the scale of the problem in the area. The vast majority of the incidents have been reported by members of the public that live and work in the vicinity. On the whole, the incidents appear to be alcohol-fuelled, and it is apparent that the persons reporting the incidents are implying this is an ongoing, regular issue which has been happening for some time. There are other incidents of crime and disorder, but for the purpose of this bundle, I've kept them strictly to ones involving public drunkenness, nuisance and antisocial behaviour. The applicant, Mr Aziz, has not disputed the issue of street drinking in the area. However, he did fail to address it on his original operating schedule when he submitted his application. I refer to a statement added to the bundle from Inspector Keith Chambers, who is responsible for the Pear Tree policing area in Derby West. This was a statement submitted by Inspector Chambers as part of a PSPO, which is a Public Space Protection Order, submitted from Derbyshire Constabulary. I've attached this statement and some explanation to the PSPO to the bundle also. It gives a clear indication of the scale of the problem with street drinking in the area. To quote Inspector Chambers, street drinking is a major issue of concern in this area, not only the impact on the wider public, but that of the health of the individuals concerned. Derbyshire Constabulary and Derby City Council operatives are often called to the area to incidents involving street drinkers, and a large proportion of time and effort is spent trying to find a solution to the problem. One of the frustrations faced is the fact that it is obvious that high-strength alcohol is being purchased in the area, but it is difficult, if not an impossible task, to locate the exact source. I feel the only solution to this would be to have some sort of marking label on the alcohol vessel to identify the seller. This would allow police and council to give appropriate advice and support to the premises that it was sold from. The issues are also reported in the local news and unfortunately give a very grim picture of the area and the large number of residents, business owners and visitors to the area who are subjected to such unpleasant activities, and their local area is depicted in such a negative light. This is also attached to the evidential bundle. Again, I refer to the statement of Inspector Chambers and included a quote. The main passage through the area of Derby city centre is Normanton Road, which leads on to Pear Tree Road. These streets consist of a high volume of off-licensed premises which retail strong liquors, beers and ciders. There is no doubt the area is saturated with these types of businesses, and they're all on the surrounding streets and on both sides. All the streets on both sides have similar type premises. I've completed some research which we store on our innkeeper system, which is purely for our licensing database. This details all the premises licences or off licences which are live and have a current DPS supervisor recorded. There were, however, other live licences, but as they didn't have a current DPS, I haven't included them in my research. Within 0.5 miles or less of 166 Normanton Road, Derby, there are 19 separate off licences which are currently live on our system. This is a very high number and clearly shows the high level of saturation from off licences in the Normanton area. Again, these have also been attached to the bundle. It has come to light since my earlier dealings with Mr Aziz that he is already a licence holder and designated premises supervisor of a neighbouring premises called the Europa Delicatessi, 170 Normanton Road, Derby. A transfer took place on the 4th of the 3rd, 2019. The premises has been visited by another licensing enforcement officer of Derbyshire Constabulary, PC Gareth Fowler, and in company with a Pear Tree officer, PC Sutton, on the 23rd of the 9th, 2020. This was part of planned visits to licensed premises following complaints of street drinking in the area. The officers discovered that the premises licence was not being adhered to due to CCTV not recording for the correct amount of days, and the Challenge 25 scheme was not being followed. I have attached a copy of the letter, which was sent by PC Fowler in follow-up at an infringement notice issued to the designated premises supervisor, who is Mr Aziz. This is also attached to the evidential bundle supplied. I've included a map indicating the location of the new premises and the close proximity to Grove Street car park, which is currently being reported as a hive of activity for street drinkers, drug takers and homeless together. This car park is literally only metres away from 166 Normanton Road. This item can be found Appendix 6 in the evidential bundle. I've also included a photo for visual reference of its close proximity, as the photo was taken from the car park and you can see the new premises. Mr Aziz already holds a premises licence in the immediate area, which does not restrict the sale of high-strength beer and cider. His only argument for not restricting the sale in his new premises is that there is a requirement for it within his community. However, I would argue this is excessive, and the likelihood of high-strength alcohol being obtained by the street drinking fraternity and those intent on getting publicly intoxicated far outweighs this argument. Mr Aziz has offered no real alternative to satisfy my concerns, apart from the suggestion of keeping high-strength beer and cider behind the counter. In my professional opinion, this is likely in itself to lead to confrontation, and the fact that alcohol is for sale will lead to attempted sales, which would then have to be refused by staff at the premises. This could lead to confrontation and possible crime and disorder, and will put pressure on staff at the premises, who essentially have to profile every customer coming in to purchase alcohol. I would also like to draw attention to the visit to the Europa Delicatessi by PC Fowler and the fact that the age verification policy was not being adhered to, and no records of staff training have been provided to the police since then. Therefore, the police has little confidence that the fact that the licence holder will adhere to this and train staff accordingly. People who participate in street drinking mostly have some sort of alcohol dependency and have limited funds available to purchase alcohol, and on some occasions their income comes from begging. Therefore, they are looking to purchase as high a strength alcohol as possible in single units, which is why lager and cider are preferred over spirits, which are above their price point. The position of Derbyshire Police is that we have little confidence that without conditions imposed, the licence for a new licensed premises, this licence for a new licensed premises will add to the already existing impact taking place on the local community. There is already an abundance of high-strength beer and cider available for purchase in the immediate area, including at a premises a few metres away, which is already run by the licence holder. The police feel that without the appropriate conditions added to the licensing objectives will be undermined. The local residents and business owners in the area are reporting how the issues of street drinking are adversely impacting their lives, which is constantly being tackled by the police and local authority. As already mentioned, the sergeant from the area, Sergeant Ben Freeson, is here if you have any questions about the policing response for street drinking in the area of Normanton. But thank you.
Sergeant, would you like to add anything to your colleague's submission?
Thanks, Chair. All I would add is, basically, I think Gemma's covered most of it, but one of our priorities at the minute, which has come from local councils and businesses along Normanton Road, is the effect that begging and street drinkers are having, which Gemma touched on. They go hand in hand. We have these individuals that go around looking to beg to fund purchasing high-strength alcohol. We've had some quite bad press recently from it as well. So, touching on what Gemma said, it does cause a huge issue for us at the moment.
Have councillors any questions for the police? Have you any questions? I think we're getting a picture that's a bit of a dynamic thing. It's constantly moving, and would you say it's been deteriorating over time?
I'm sure the sergeant can answer this better than I can, but yes, it's been happening for many years. I would say it potentially has escalated recently, so we're getting more reports of antisocial behaviour, street drinking as time is going on. So it is a constant battle for the police. The other issue is we try and deal with it in one area and it moves it to another area. So yes, it is an ever-changing picture which we are constantly battling.
Thank you. Have you any questions for the... No. And would you have any questions? Can you switch them?
I do have a couple of questions, but also to clarify a few things that the PC has said.
So you can use that you can address those in your submission?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. We have had a letter from an interesting party, but they're not here today, so we'll take that into account, clearly, but there'll be no evidence from them. And so we move to the applicant. Could you present your application and respond to the relevant representations raised?
Okay, so as I confirmed, Europa will be closed, so there will no longer be licensed premises in terms of next door to Fresh OC supermarket. Also, I've spoken to the applicant as well in regards to they're happy to adjust the hours and keep it as the current one that they have with Europa Delicatessi, which is from 8 in the morning to 11:59. Also, in terms of the alcohol that's sold there, they do not sell them on promotion or on offer. They do have a certain limited range, which is above 6.5%, which is not sold again, like I said, as promotion or offer, and it's sold as single cans at £1.80. And also, they do not sell any English lager or ciders. It's just European, Polish, Romanian that they sell. And in regards to the premises as well, Fresh Oshi Supermarket, I'm not sure if either one of you have been to the Normanton area recently, but it is going to be the Istanbul restaurant, which is going to be above Fresh Oshi Supermarket. So as you can see, the design, the entire kind of concept that we're going for in terms of the business is to attract better to the area and improve it. It's not to in any way cause any much, because the restaurant is a well-known restaurant. It's located in different cities throughout the UK, and we're trying to attract families and a better clientele to the area. And also, we have a lot of issues which we have raised with, obviously, the PC Williamson about the street drinking, the homelessness, and also people just loitering as well, particularly between the walkway that is to Lidl, and we would like to speak, we're in plans to speak to the owners about potentially installing a gate, so the hours that Lidl is in operation, that walkway is closed, so there's no more dumping of rubbish, no more loitering there, and just generally trying to encourage, just like deter people hanging around really. And also the flower boxes that have been placed, I'm not sure who's responsible. Well, it was the council who installed them, but they haven't been maintained, and this is the thing, it's not, I don't believe, I kind of get a sense that it's kind of being penalised, like the businesses, but yeah, we should all be working together in order to improve the area. You know, it has escalated the issues with street drinking. It's not safe anymore, and that's not the onus just on the businesses, but also the council, the police, everyone working together to find solutions, to find a way of, you know, tackling these issues, because it's not just the businesses to do it. And in terms of training as well for staff and dealing with the issues of age-related sales, etc., I do believe what would be great is if the police were more involved in the training to home in the message of the seriousness of it to staff and businesses. I think that would make a huge difference. And also having the council more involved and being more of a presence to help improve the area, because businesses alone can't tackle it. And also the services, what services do the council offer for the street drinking and those with substance abuse? Like, where are they? It's not something that businesses can tackle. Where is the support for them? I volunteered at the Padley, and I know that when you make an effort in the area, you make a difference, they're less likely to come and congregate there. You know, they appreciate when there is something that's nice. But if they see rubbish, if they see things that are not nice and it's just looks a mess, people are going to congregate there. They're not going to care. They're not going to take pride in the area. And the area has gone downhill, and that, I don't know why, whether it's just because of funding or what. But if it's funding, then I know there's plenty of businesses that will be happily contribute towards improving the area, making it look nice, because it benefits them as well to bring, you know, different people to the area and improve the area as a whole, because it's not nice. I've lived in, you know, my family as well, I've lived in Normanton for a very long time. We grew up. It's sad to see the way it is. And in regards to, I think, Grove Street car park, again, that is something that is not the responsibility of businesses to deal with. It's the council to maintain it. And if there's an issue with people congregating there, then surely then they should have someone on site to deter it. And in terms of the pricing, I feel that if there was a Sainsbury's that was asking to be located in the same premise, would they be asking for them to be pricing all their products? Because do they have all their alcohol's price labels? No, they don't. So I feel it's kind of an unfair condition to be requesting smaller businesses to do so. So, for instance, it could cause an issue where if they saw a can on the floor and it did have the price label of Fresh Yoshi supermarket, and there may be other cans around, but they didn't have that label, there might be an automatic assumption that all that alcohol has been purchased from Fresh Yoshi supermarket. So I feel that there isn't going to be really a balance, and it's going to cause potentially unnecessary issues, and also police turning up saying that, oh, we saw this can, it was from your store, you're responsible. It's not going to be really helpful. It's not going to deal with the issue. And in terms of what solutions the police have, as we raised it in the email, we up to this day don't know what is being done. That isn't being made aware to us. Even as businesses, I think it's important that the council and the police make, you know, owners, landlords, businesses aware in the Normanton area, what is it that they're doing, what are they proposing to tackle, and work with them in consultation to find the solution. You know, we have also rubbish being dumped everywhere. That isn't being dealt with. So, I don't think there's anything further I need to add on to that, if anyone wishes to add anything.
Thank you. Councillors, have you any questions?
The police highlighted problems with the current premises with CCTV and adhering to age verification. What guarantees have you got that the same problems won't be transferred to the new premises?
In terms of the new premises, hence why I suggested that, was quite happy that if the police were involved in the training or any council member, that would happily home in the message as to what exactly how they want it set out, the standard, because we have got CCTV installed in the new premises, and that is located on the inner and the outer areas. And like I said, we're quite happy for the new. There's 32 cameras on status. Yeah, so we're quite happy to adhere with anything that the police would like us to do. And like I said, if they're involved in any type of training or whatever, then welcome it.
I take on board what you say, but you've not actually said how you'll guarantee the CCTV to work. I believe the police said the CCTV wasn't working. So we're talking about training, but what guarantees have you got to ensure, to convince us and everybody else that the CCTV will be fully functional?
So they'll have a company who have installed the cameras to maintain it and make every images or anything, recordings available for the certain period required. So if they're happy for the details of the company, that the police would like those, it's quite happy to hand them over.
Thank you. One further question. What training programmes do you have in place for your staff?
So as you're aware that obviously we've got a mix of staff members which are from Eastern Europe. And so what we plan to do is have them sent on an external course with an external provider, so they'll get fully trained, and then also have obviously the language provider. And I, like I said, would welcome the police and the council to come involved in that training so that they can also home in the message of how serious the issues that are in the area, and how they can also tackle where the PC also mentioned about confrontations with street drinkers and how we can deal with those best, which doesn't result in it being an escalated incident.
Thank you.
Councillor Holmes, have you any questions?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I've got quite a few, sorry. When do you propose that the premises next door will close? So is there going to be an overlap, or what is the situation with that, first of all?
So basically, when the new premises are opened, that one will be shut down. Europa Delicatessen will not remain open at all.
So
it would be potentially a few days before the opening date of Fresh Oshi supermarket.
the supermarket currently is not open, it doesn't exist.
No,
it's
it
a new
isn't.
premises
It's a new
altogether.
premises.
And you're just moving from the one next door, the deli next door, into those premises.
Yeah.
And there will be no overlap
No.
with that, okay? So when the delicatessen was visited by the police, why was the no 20 challenge 25 followed? Can there be a reason given for that? The police found that those conditions weren't being followed. So in other words, they found you weren't challenging people under 25, you weren't making the appropriate records that you should have been doing. Can you explain why not?
in that time we had the issue with the CCTV. Now we have the new CCTV which is recording over the month. You can come check and have a look. But you know, it is electric. Sometimes it could be anything's happen. The TV broken, the CCTV, you know.
Sorry, I'm specifically asking about the Challenge 25 policy.
Obviously, I wasn't there, and I wasn't made aware of it at the time that this incident occurred, when the police arrived in relation to the age verification policy. So I can't comment on that myself personally. And I've only, obviously, this was brought to our attention just recently from PC Williamson.
So who was present at the time? Mr. Aziz, present? Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I need to establish why the Challenge 25 wasn't being followed. You know, as one of the licensing objectives that you need to maintain is the protection of children from harm. And you are asking us to grant you a licence when there is evidence that you weren't following the licence objectives in your previous...
But it's also unclear as to what exactly the police stated that was done, that wasn't being followed, if that makes sense. Because from what I can gather, they haven't...
Is there anything, Ms Wilkinson, that you can help us with on that aspect of...
I'm just looking at the letter that was sent by PC Fowler, which is Appendix 6 of the evidential bundle. And he actually spoke to, excuse my pronunciation, Malgorzata Iwanka.
She's one of the managers at the store. She's not a designated. Yeah. Okay.
And the issues that were raised by PC Fowler, the CCTV system, this is the condition itself, the CCTV system will keep all recorded images for a period specified within the police's the Crime Reduction Act, or for a period of no less than 14 days. And the issue he raised with that was the above condition is in regards to your CCTV system. The CCTV system appears to be out by 24 hours as the system is showing as being live on a separate date. Also, there were only 7 days worth of recorded footage on the system, and it appeared to have not have been recording the weekend previous to his visit. So basically, they weren't adhering to the 14 days stated on the licence. And a Challenge 25 scheme will be operated by the premises, and all staff employed at the premises will be trained on the use and operation of the scheme. He's spoken to the staff member I've already mentioned, and another member of staff present. Both believe that they should be checking people who appear under the age of 18 for ID when they are attempting to purchase alcohol. However, they did not know about the Challenge 25 policy and how this should be utilised. And he was unable to view any training that had taken place to ensure that the above condition is implemented. So basically, they were aware that you can't purchase alcohol under 18, but the Challenge 21 policy basically allows for a few extra years as people can not appear their age, if that makes sense. So they weren't aware that they should be checking anyone who looks under 21 rather than under 18. Hope that clarifies.
So just to summarise that then, so when the police visited the premises that the applicant, Mr. Aziz, was the designated premises supervisor at, yes? So Mr. Aziz was not present at that time. The police spoke to a manager who ran the premises, but they were unaware and had no training on underage, serving underage.
Sorry, so there wasn't no issue in terms of they had it was just an awareness. But I don't believe that is true because they have had all training, and she has been, how many years now she's been in employment at the Red Park?
About 8 years.
8 years.
We are there 13 years, because 13 years experience.
So, was there a reason why Mr. Aziz was not present at the time? One of your submissions for this new licence says that to uphold the licensing objectives, and this was written in your application, that there will be a designated premises supervisor on site at all times. And yet you were not there on that day, so...
I am in the market like 10 years experience, how the selling alcohol, like when is the like ended, like a sticker, I got the 2 sticker on the one in the window, one is the on the right side, and when I am not in the store, I can't. We have four staffs for training, and even when I'm in there, not in there, you can't speak with the manager, so she can't training like how we selling alcohol, and about the labels, yeah, in the 25 we still asking, and all staffs asking for ID, even for asking for passport. We have that like experience for 10 years.
Do you have any logs or records
I got
written down
records, I got
of every
refuse
time
book.
somebody underage has
I
been
have
served?
everything with me now. If you like to see, I don't mind. Yeah.
Could you just tell me, are you aware of the licensing objectives as a designated premises supervisor?
The last time, you mean, yeah?
Are you aware what the licensing objectives are?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not understand.
Sorry, can I just go on there? So he is aware because I have explained them to him, and he's fully, like I said, he's been in the market for more than 10 years now. So he's fully
I think
aware.
he should be able to tell me them himself, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Can you tell me the 4 licensing objectives? The objectives, when you are applying for a licence, you have to abide by the 4 licensing objectives. Do you know what those objectives are? No, it's fine, thank you. I've got my answer to that. The next point I'd like to make is in your submission you've made a lot of reference to the problems in the area, and you admit of the problems in the area, and you admit that those problems are related to street drinkers. And yet there's a lot of blame for the council and the police for these problems, and you blame rubbish in the area for those problems. I have not heard you once mention the alcohol aspect that compounds those problems. Can you address why you feel the need to sell this extra strength beer will help promote these licensing objectives and will help the situation of the street drinking in this area?
Firstly, I'd like to clarify, I didn't blame anyone. I said that we all need to work together collaboratively to find a way of tackling the issues. It's not, you cannot put the requirements of tackling it at the one door of the business owners, because each and every, the police, the business, council, they need to work together in order to tackle the issues. Like I said, I've been in the area all my life, you know, and to the extent that the problems there are, you know, it's not the businesses that can provide services to those who's got substance abuse. So what is in the area for people who've got issues? What drop-in centres are there? What support services are there within the Normanton area? You know, it's a diverse community. So
Sorry, can I
this
just
is what I'm
interrupt?
querying.
The point is, we're talking about this licence. So this is, you are applying for a licence for alcohol. So we're primarily talking about the alcohol aspect of the situation, not all that, you know, everything else that goes with it. We're talking about the alcohol here. So you have not mentioned that your request to sell high-strength alcohol at this premises would compound to this issue. Do you acknowledge that the police have categorically said that it's the high-strength beers and lagers and ciders that the street drinkers are targeting to be able to then go outside? You know, you blame the rubbish outside, that's why people hang outside. But it's got to be also connected to being able to purchase high-strength alcohol. And yet you've not acknowledged that the alcohol selling is at all a problem. You've acknowledged everything else. Do you not acknowledge that the high-strength alcohol compounds these problems?
Okay, so as I said, they don't sell lagers and ciders, English ones at all. And they have a limited range in terms of that, which is above 6.5%. And they've been operating the licence, they've had Europa Delicatessi more than 10 years. Now, if there was a saturation in the area of licences and the similar stores, then why were they not raised earlier on? You know, why did they continue to allow applications to go ahead with so many licenses if they knew there was a certain amount which they counted, was it, I can't remember, 18 or more? So, again, it's not something, and in terms of the rubbish and everything like that, that again, like I said, it's something that also adds to people coming into the area and loitering. If it's not kept tidy or clean and it's not maintained, and there's no services for these people to deal with their issues, then you are going to have issues. They are going to be in the area. And that's not something that you can just lie solely at the door of the businesses. You know, the businesses are there. They also bring something to the area, like the new premises, if you've been to the Normanton area, is actually visually added, bringing a major restaurant, which is going to bring a growing clientele. Even the owners of the top part of that, who are the business partners of that restaurant, they would like to see the area nicely done, you know, where it's going to attract more families, not just an area where it's got these issues. We never had these issues in Normanton before. They've just continually escalated. And why? And it's not just about people's access to alcohol. It's about where's the services, what is happening in the area. All those things compound to it.
Yeah, but like I said, that's
You know.
not under discussion though, is it? We are primarily, you have asked us to consider this alcohol licence, and that is what we are primarily dealing with. So,
But, sorry,
another
but-
question. Do you have any problem with any aspect of the licence, or is it just the 3 conditions that have been put upon you by the police that
It
you
was just
think
the
is
3
unfair?
conditions that are
So you're
unfair.
happy with everything else?
Yeah. And willing to work with the police and the council in finding solutions to deal with it. Like I said, we've made suggestions about how to tackle
But the
it.
police have offered you these three solutions for them to have not objected to this licence today. We didn't have to be here. If you'd have accepted those, prior, you would have had your licence with those conditions. So you are appealing to us here today just for those 3 conditions that you
Yes.
feel are unfair. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I know that you're saying you'll be opening from 8 till 11:59 now, which is a variation of the hours you originally put. So we'll note that. But I would like some clarification on this issue of selling single cans of high-strength alcohol. I think you said they're not English products, but they're from Eastern Europe. But surely it's the alcoholic content that's the important thing, the level of alcohol in the drink rather than where they're from.
Right. And normally, there's some strong beer, which is 9%, over 9%. We never sell them in our shop. So the beers that come aboard mostly is 4.5 till 6. Okay? And we try to reduce those stuff. We don't bring it to the shop because we don't want to street people come to our shop. Now, mostly of the drink people or drunk people on this area, of the street drinker, they banned from our shop. We not allow them to come in. You know, we don't want trouble. We don't like get any trouble. We don't want to, you know, get the trouble with the drink people and call the police, something like that. You know, but there's another issue. Look, there's too many of license on the road. We not sell to them. Trust me, we not sell to them. But they go to another license, they get it. And they think they buy from me. They brought it from me. So if, you know, I consider, so other shops as well, you know, they should, the police officer or whatever, the council, they should go to other shops as well and make sure they not sell to alcohol, to the drunk people or alcoholic people. Okay? So it's not only we, ourselves, we can't do everything. We try. You know, in our shops, there is some, the boxes they made for the flour. And the drunk people, they sitting there. We can't, many times, I just buy the coffee for them and I say, please, just move from here. Go to the crossroad because we don't want trouble. We've been training. We know how to sell alcohol. We know if I sell 1 can alcohol to the drunk people, I get £50,000, the charge, the fine, the penalty. So we don't want to get this. We make some money there. We have child. I got a child, 4 children. We got, you know, I got 10 family on this shop. We don't want to lose the license. We don't want trouble. We want to keep going. But, you know, it's not up to sell. If it's up to me, I ask the police and the council, please, can you just remove these people to somewhere else? We appreciate it. But still, they are human. We can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Still, they are human. We have to respect them. We have to, trust me, mostly I give them money, £1, something like that. Just say, go buy the coffee for yourself, but don't make trouble. Don't make shouting. Don't do this one. You know, we need to help as well from the council. There's something like that, the box, remove it. If they stay in the group, just the police can't come say, look, don't sit down in the group like 10, they sitting together. And before we have one issue, you know, the evening time, there was the charity, they bring the food for them, okay? And trust me, evening time, more than 100 of those drunk people staying in the park, the parking opposite us. And one day I went to there and I asked the charity, I said, please, look, you're doing this one, but you're causing a lot of trouble for us. Here around you is a business. We don't want all these people come here. Because they shout, they fight, they do, you know, they're drunk. What you do? Can't do nothing. When you say, please be quiet, this, you know, I'm sorry to give you the bad word. So I was asking them, I said, please, can you just take to somewhere else this and give them this food in different street, the next street. This is better. There is no business there. You know, it may better for us. Then he did it, and I appreciate it for that. You know, we can't do just everything by ourselves. There's too many licenses in Northampton Road. So this license, we're closing, we're going to the next door. We already have experience. We already did mistake before. We know how to fix it. We know how to sort it. So right now, as they mentioned about the CCTV, I got the CCTV recording over the months. We got the company, and they can provide the details. So we are honoring our wood. You can check, you can come. And the building is nice building. We make the beautiful building. We don't want those people come around there. We want, these people, take them away from there. When they feel somewhat is nice and they feel a little bit, I don't know, shine, things like that. This is not our place, stay here. Let us keep going. So I try very hard to make it better. We are there for nearly 13 years. We got experience 13 years, but we don't know really. We want other people as well helping us. Thank you very much.
Did you have any questions?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. Can I just clarify that the altered opening times were in fact an offer and wasn't an intention to change your application? Or is it your intention now to change your opening times?
It's an intention to change it if it helps the situation.
If it helps the
yeah.
situation.
And in terms of the high strength, can I just clarify what customers are buying those at the moment from you? Can you give us some examples of what types of customers have that genuine need and who you're selling to?
Most European people.
And sorry, again, it's very limited. We have a small range within the store
Yeah.
of anything which is above 6.5. So I think is it 2 or
Sorry.
is it 2 or 3 that is just above
one. Just one.
just okay,
Yeah.
just one then. Is it
like 6.5%. Just
Okay.
one we have.
okay? So there you go. It's just one.
Thank you for your submission, and I think now we're trying to give you equal time on this next section. Would the licensing officer wish to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. We've heard from the applicant and from Derbyshire Constabulary. All I would say is the options open to committee today are listed in 1.4 of the report. Thank you, Chair.
And would you like to sum up now, officer?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just a couple of points of clarification just before I move on to my summing up. The letter sent from PC Fowler to Mr Aziz did actually invite him, if he wanted to discuss the matter further, to hold a further meeting with him, which he would be happy to facilitate. I'm not aware that we've had any contact from the licence holder of the Europa Delicatessi on this matter. He also invited him to send any staff training if there was any available to sort of satisfy the police. And again, just to clarify, we never received anything of that nature, nor have we received any reports that they have any concerns about the street drinking in the area. So I just wanted to clarify that. We do, as the police, always try to have a fair and proportionate approach to all new licences, although we accept that every licence application has to be on its own merits. The conditions that we've asked for are not disproportionate to any other new licence applications. As the police, we feel that they're the only way that we can be satisfied that we are tackling this problem. There is multiple strings of policing going on to try and tackle street drinking, as from the council as well. I don't think it's the time or the place in this hearing to go into those. Obviously, if the applicant wanted to speak to us separately, that's something we could facilitate. However, the onus is on, under the Licensing Act, the onus is on the applicant to prove how they are going to promote the licensing objectives. I haven't heard anything in this hearing today that has satisfied me to that extent. It's an impossible task for the police to prove which premises are selling alcohol, which is why we are asking for these conditions. We feel it's the only way to limit the amount of alcohol available to try and improve the area and tackle the issues of street drinking. The scale of the problem has not been disputed at all. I think, if anything, we're all in agreement, but it is still the position of the police that without conditions imposed on the licence to promote the licensing objectives, that's the only way we can be satisfied that they won't be undermined. Thank you.
And would you like to sum up your case?
as we stated, we'll be closing down Europa and obviously adjusting the hours to 8 till 11:59. And in relation to, I can't comment obviously on any response that was given to PC Fowler, but I can assure you that going forward, they have got in place, obviously for the CCTV, a company for the CCTV, and also in terms of the training, they are going to be having an external provider providing the training in depth for the licensing conditions. And also, like I said, happy as well to have the police involved in terms of that training. In terms of the pricing, again, my concern with that is that a condition for any new applications, or will that then also be rolled out to existing businesses so that it's ensured to be fair? Because you cannot just expect with new businesses to do that in the area without other businesses who are existing, and it's as you say, the street drinking is an issue throughout, so shouldn't they also be required to do the same? And that includes any business, regardless of which, like if there's a Sainsbury's in the area or whatever, that they should have their labels on all the alcohols that they sell as well. And I don't think there's anything else that you would like me to address. In terms of the alcohol, which is, like I said, we did offer anything that's above 6.5%, quite happy to put it in a counter and behind the counter, if that makes a difference. Again, like it's confirmed, the owner and Mrs. E's, that they have a limited range. And if it means limiting the range that they have, quite happy to do that. There's no issue with that at all. I don't think is there anything else that you wish me to address?
Thank you very much. We'll now retire to make our decision, and we'll give you details on how the decision will be made, and I think we'll communicate by letter. Yes. Yes.
Yes, Chair. If the decision notice comes to me, then if I've got an email address, it'll be emailed out to all parties.
So before you leave, can you make sure the officer has the details for communication of the decision? Yep, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you feel that the procedure allows everyone to give themselves a fair crack of the whip, and that we have everything we need to make a decision. Thanks very much.
Thank you.